Hey, hi, and welcome to another weekly connection. So here we are again with the boss. He loves it when I call him that, by the way. He thinks it's funny. It is rather funny, actually. Um, but he kind of is the coordinator for all that goes on beyond the veil. So he wants to talk about fear again and again and again and again until it's gone. That could be a forever video. All right. So here we go. So let's talk about removing the duality. I remember in last video, we talked about that duality is caused by our ego, right? The ego creates the duality because it creates that separateness, that different. Why do people ostracize people that are different? Because they're afraid of something they don't recognize or they don't know. So when we're in unity or even cosmic awareness, Christ consciousness, as it's sometimes called, we only share love, compassion, and kindness. We don't have fear. If fear comes up, we immediately shoot ourselves with that light, hit ourselves with that light really hard, and remove the negative thought that caused the fear. Over and over and over and over. Anytime you're feeling a negative thought, a negative feeling, fearful feeling. Because really, fear is the root of it. Anger. Fear is the root of anger. So anytime there's a negative thought, a malformed thought, as it's called in the realms, you have to nix it. You have to get it, shift it, transform it. Just like when we have an Oogie Bear, an entity of any kind or something, could be a thought form, could be an entity, doesn't matter what it is. The treatment's the same. You whack it with light until it remembers being light. And then you send it to rehab. Well, you have to do that to yourself. With all of your negative thought patterns, these malformed thoughts, which in the sacral chakra we'll talk about, have been there since the beginning of the downfall of humanity, or the Great Fall, it's called. It's not humanity, Great Fall. Humanity was just part of the Great Fall, right? So it's embedded in there, right? In that root and in that sacral chakra to prevent you from feeling love. That's pretty sad. That was a sad moment when fear reigned rather than love. But here we are, going back on the upswing, back to the light, becoming light beings, becoming conscious, cosmic light beings, where there is no difference between us. Or if there is, it doesn't stinking matter. And the malformed thought patterns are dissolved. This is our goal. But we have to start by dissolving them in ourselves. Because as long as you feel those forms, they still exist. You get to a point more and more and more where you don't feel them. And when you go out into the world, and you kind of have to, you see it and you feel compassion for that craziness, for that driver who was in such a hurry that they cut you off and didn't care about your space. So you feel compassion and love, no matter what it is, no matter who it is, even in traffic. For some of you, That's a challenge, but that's where you can focus. That's where you can work on it. It's a good example. So, so fear is the tool of the dark. We know this. We talked about this a lot, right? Fear is the tool of the dark. I remember one time I was in fear and I hollered out for some help. And this being goes, he was an ascended master. And he's like, "What do you want me to do with you?" No compassion. No, like, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. You feel fear and you're feeling scared." Nope, not a bit. And I'm like, "Help me, help me." He goes, "I'm not going there. You're in the dark." I'm like, "Ooh." He's like, "You come here. You come back to the light. I'll sit with you." And he did until I got my act together. And then I thought, what other things make me scared? So I started doing conscious use of power on all those things too. Stayed up all night. It was great. From that time, I knew what to do if I got frightened. Didn't stop me from reacting sometimes, although those times are getting less and less. But I knew what to do when those times came. And that's what you need to do. That's what you're doing now. When you're wearing your orbit, you're keeping yourself in that flow of light so that you're dissolving the fear and getting out of duality and into love, kindness, and compassion. So the time is near when we need to know how to react in love. I was trained at a young age that when I felt fear, like of an oogie bear or some big monster looking thing or dark evil thing, I didn't go, "Ah," because then they would have grabbed my root and bopped me on the head. Instead, you go, "Come on, let's do this." That's your attitude right now. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get this done. Let's hit it hard. I told you the boss has a much firmer voice than Lord Mahay or Lord Katumi. That's how he is. He's a no muss, no fuss guy, which Lord Katumi is too, but he ain't got nothing on the boss. But the time is very near, which is why this is so important. And there's going to be more and more of a surge to try to get you into fear and to keep you in duality, and it will not hold. It will not hold because we're going through this transition. It's happening with or without us. So let's have it go with us. Let's take the ride. It's going to be fun. So we want to hold that orbit. So you want to keep clearing yourself and make yourself that beacon of light 24/7. Wearing the shield 24/7, you can't help but be a beacon of light. It's how it works. So let's do it. So let's bring in that light, that wonderful gold, yummy, yummy light that comes down the front. The yang energy, the father energy, so comforting and strong. And it comes all the way down through our body, filling our knees, going down our legs and out our feet into the earth, wiggling our toes with that yummy gold light. And the mother grabs onto our golden lariat. And we continue down around the grid. And the grid is getting zizzier and zizzier. In case you haven't noticed, there's been a lot more solar energy and earthquake energy. These are all signs of the time. So then we bring that energy around the grid and up our back. back to source with the mother in it. And now we go round and round, and we have that orbit. So you can knock me, you can sock me, but you can't knock me down, because I'm Bobo the Clown. Right? Just kind of wobble with whatever comes along. And now, as we bring that light down and around and up, water falls out our aura, all 12 auras that we now wear quite well. And with the well of the mother, we strengthen our connection to the earth, to the mother, which connects us to everything. All that is and all that is not. And we just saturate that light in the well of the mother. And we bring it up into the root. Here we go. We're going to dissolve all that malformed thought, negative patterns, all that stuff encrusted in our DNA. And we're going to sweep it out, dissolve it into the light. And it's just a bamaram in that root aura, changing our DNA from the 2 helix to 12. It is 12, but they're all, I've said this before, it's like someone took a hot melt glue gun and mushed them all together. And with the light, we're untangling those light threads. You're not making new ones, you're just dissolving the shmush that's all around it that won't allow you to experience that higher consciousness. It's always been there. It's just a matter of cleaning up those light threads, which happens in the root chakra, aura. And then we go up to our sacral chakra, where all that learned behavior that comes from that shmush DNA is now being dissolved. All those thoughts that you thought were real, you suddenly go, oh, that's not real. You see the truth. You see the truth. And you see the negativity of humanity, and you understand. And you change that negative, malformed thought into light. And you go to conscious use of power, and that'll remove the conflict. That'll remove anything, any question, especially if you think you're right. This is really good if you think you're right. Because being right doesn't matter. It's being light that matters. And we bring that into the solar plexus, and we reflect that light into the collective consciousness. Not judgment, not fear, but love. And people will go, ooh, I like that. Let's have more. And they'll give up the fear the more they feel the love. And the empathic shield will keep you from judging. Why are they so dumb? They're not dumb. They just don't know. They forgot. They're asleep. Let's wake them up. So it's time for us to wake up humanity, to feel love, not fear. Love, not judgment. Love, kindness for those who are having a hard time, and compassion. Because sometimes in the mortal realm, stuff happens. Surely does. It's the nature of being on 3D still. We understand that you're not free of any conflict happening to you in a 3D body. You just know how to get through it. And you go into your empathic shield and we make sure on that liver that you give it a lot of light because it needs it right now. And you said love to an adversary, not hate. Hate won't get you there. We cannot shift the negativity of others with hatred or fear. We can only shift that with love and compassion. So we understand. That's what the empathic shield does. It makes you understand. So now from your heart, you understand and you share that love. And you manifest through conscious intent on the thymus. And you are manifesting a light existence, pure love. And you're making the world a lighter, brighter place. And you express that in your throat. And people see it, and they feel it, and they want love. They don't want fear and hatred, they want love. And in your third eye, you know you are spreading that light. You are being that light. You are dissolving your ego of fear and anger or any other malformed thought. It's gone from you. The more you practice and you practice and you practice. Sometimes you fake it till you make it. It's okay if something doesn't come easy sometimes. Just stay at it. It means it's something that you need to dissolve. It's okay. But keep going. Don't give up. Don't fall into it. Because you know you're the light seed wearing that very bright crown for all to see, to be able to find love themselves. Moving the telepathic notch into oneness, into sharing love with each other, not all the baloney that's going on out there. So we're dissolving the veil, and the telepathic notch is the vehicle for dissolving that veil. As we no longer judge one another, we see through the veil. So let's get the job done. Let's dissolve all that judgment in the ego, all those thoughts that aren't light, and be the light seed you are. I love you all, and I'll see you next time with the boss. Bye-bye.